Hello and thanks for tuning in. My name is Peter, I'm the host for the show, and today we're going to be doing a 6S quadcopter build. What I'm going to be using for this build are the Martian II 255 quadcopter frame, Speedix GS 35 amp BL Heli 32 ESCs, Emax Lite Spec 2206-2400 kV brushless motors. For the flight controller and the power distribution board, I'm using the Matek F405 OSD and the FCHUB 6S. I'm using 60/40 propellers, but you can use propellers of your choice. For the control transmitter, that can be personal depending on what you're using, FRI, Sky, Spectrum. I'm using Spectrum, so I'm going to be using that. For VTX, I have a 5V TBS Unify Pro version 3 and an antenna as well. I have an HS1177 camera, and in my instance I'm using the Foxeer Arrow. For a LiPo battery, I recommend something in the 1550 to 1800 milliamp range, 6S, or you can run lower if you want. And in my instance, I'm also trying some XT150 connectors, which is completely optional. This part here is your top plate. This is your bottom plate on top of where your VTX or your piggy tail comes up, most likely your pigtail, for the antenna connection, and it just reinforces that. And these are the 3 bolts that come with it that go underneath. So they basically go like this. Here's the diagram. These are for the camera. So it's designed for a Runcan Swift, the 1177, so any kind of 1177 I suppose. And this is the back plate for the FPV mount. Some people choose not to use this. We have some aluminum standoffs. We have a 2, 4, 6, 8. Here's a power distribution board, and for the people that may not want to use it, this does form part of the structure of the frame, and this goes in between the carbon fiber plate and this, just to insulate it, because this is made out of some kind of plastic or something, fiberglass. So that goes in between just to save it from shorting against the carbon fiber. I mean, how much does it weigh? 9 grams, 9.5 grams. I'm just going to give you a weight on this Martian II quadcopter frame, and I'm giving you the total weight, so I'm including everything. 171. Okay, and they give you 4 foamy landing pads, an XTC connector, which I've never seen like this before. There's no hole in it, it's a little bit of a concave in there. Maybe it makes it easier to solder in, because it's intended to solder in like this, and it plugs in from the top. So that's the first step. Let's get this frame all prepped up. In prepping the frame, just make sure that you have the proper tools so that you're protecting yourself from the carbon fiber dust, as it's very bad for you. Carbon dust all over my hands. That's a little better. Alright, sorry about that, lost battery power. So I'm just going to show you this again. Disregard Geppetto's quadcopter over here. Now let's go back to what I was originally talking about, and that's the Martian II 250 or 255 build. This is the one that can swing 6-inch propellers, so the largest one. I took the bottom plate, top plate, and 4 arms, and I sanded the corners, not too much. Like, I didn't round them as to, take any substantial amount of weight from the quadcopter, just to make it reasonably smooth and not too sharp. But I also sanded the top portion of it, because the carbon fiber, any carbon fiber usually comes with like a coating. I'm not even sure what type of coating it is, but I also sanded that so that it looked totally pale and scuffed on the whole thing. And then I put on some polymer spray. And I believe there's 2 types of polyurethane, oil-based and water-based. You want to go with, I don't know, I'm just using this. Can't make a representation on that. I don't know too much about this stuff. All I know is that it's a spray-on plastic, right? Polyurethane, isn't it? Here's the top plate. This is the front. Bottom plate, front. I'm going to use this, but only in a structural way, as it is a structural component. The two sizes that we have are 12mm. Then we have 6mm. There's two already there. Go on like this. That gives you some left over. You'll need 3 for the antenna support. And then I think they give you an additional 3 just to be nice. But I'm just going to do it like this. Now what I was saying before is, if you're going to use a flight controller with your own power distribution board, then you may want to just install it with this first. And then this just takes a little patience here. Right? Because this is an insulator. So what I'm doing is using some double-sided tape on the arms, and I'm covering the holes too as well. And as I'm placing it through the screws, and this has to be, you got to think about where you put the tape beforehand, because the screws go in a certain way. As I just push it through. Now the one thing I'm trying to prevent is any sort of movement, vibration, because I'm all about vibration dampening. And you may get some, this is that two-way clear tape. If you have any excess, just use, use whatever you want. It'd be nice to have this clear two-way tape. It's not like the gray Scotch type that we all love. It's not quite like that, but kind of. It's thinner. And now, I'm going to use, see, that's pretty good, eh? And at least when you use some blue Loctite, you're going to have a nice seal. I also have some on my on this part of the power distribution board. Now hopefully the screws are going to be long enough so that, and this will go on top. I already have the PDB installed. Now for the power distribution board that comes with this frame, unfortunately it does form part of the quadcopter structure, so you do need it, I think. But what I did is, because I wasn't using it, I sandwiched it in the middle between, it's hard to see because I painted the steel. I have 2 sets of vibration dampening bobbins. Now the flight controller only comes with 1, so it's a good thing they sell them separately. So I have 2, a set on the bottom, then a set on the top. I changed the standoffs from the purple 25mm ones to these black ones. I would have shortened this up a little bit, but since I'm going with this Foxeer camera, this is the Arrow 600 TVL CCD. I was supposed to get the version 3, but they sent me this, so I'm still going to use it. And plus, it's black, which is good. Keeps the same color scheme. Now, this is what I hear is that with this camera, the only issue is that the microphone picks up a lot of the wind, so I may just put a little bit of sponge in there or something to filter that out. For motors, we have the Emax Lite Spec. These are the 2207 2400 kV. This will do 6S. But I would stick with these if you're going 6S. These look really nice. Now they don't give you an Allen key like they usually give you, but they still give you a nice box, stickers if you want to do some advertising for them. That's fine. I love Emax. I have no problem doing that. We have Speedix 35 amp, BL 32. These are the GS 35 amp. I can take 2 to 6S. This is the Matek flight controller, the F405 OSD, that's complementary to this board. Then I have a Team Black Sheep 5V TBS Unify version 3 with the SMA connector. And I'm going to be using these XT150 connectors. These vibration dampening bobbins, you only get 1 set. So you get 4 with the flight controller. I do sell them separately, at least where I bought them. So I bought an extra set. Anyways, the point is, I put 4 of these bobbins on the bottom, and I just have just a short screw. I forget what the size is. Just to give you an idea, it's actually just a little bit that pops out. Maybe 3 millimeters, something like that. And that's just enough. The slotted part is the front. This is the back. Right, and this is all done. This is all. What I did in the front is I took that chunk off. There's a little bit of a piece of carbon fiber that went over here, so that I have more room to roll the camera up. I use the side of my iron too a lot. I'm not sure what's going on here. I definitely don't like that. Now, you know what? You just take it off the actual thing if you want to, like this. Really, now that I think of it, how do I even remove this thing? This is a big wire, so I always use pliers or something like that because it's going to get too hot. Gotta learn how to be ambidextrous here. Hold on. Jeez. Pretty good enough, really. So I got the wire on here. I should have done this reverse because I have to put these on, these XT150s. So for the positive, I'll put the small one because you're going to put these on first. That's the thing. And so with the bigger one here, I say bigger, within the same color, right? You guys, check it out. Okay. So now I gotta tin the wires the other end. And this is kind of dumb because I have to do it this way, right? But these wires are pretty rigid, and I shouldn't have a problem. 4 millimeters, something like that. I guess we should tin it, but try not to tin it too much. You don't want to overflow. Okay, that should be good. Oh, jeez. Exactly what I didn't want. Just let it cool off here. But I did exactly what I said we shouldn't. Now hopefully this clicks in. I've never used an XT150 before. This time I'm not going to put as much as I did last. The nail. Because you saw what happened. There, just like that. Maybe a little more. It's a little bit awkward. These are just supposed to pop in, but do it when it's cooled down and give it a nice clean first. I may have to get in there with some kind of a knife. You may have to chisel it out, worst possible scenario. Not a big deal. Actually, what's good for that is steel wool. But make sure if you're going to use steel wool, make sure you wet it and don't use it in or around your working area. Go under the sink, because I know I've done that before. Steel wool just to get excess solder off works awesome. But for big chunks, you can just use a knife. Just clean that. Man, these things are huge. Let's try the black one first. This is the moment of reckoning right here. Feel no clicking. There's no clicking. No clicking, man. There's no clicking here. Oh, beautiful. I didn't think that was going to happen. Amazing. Okay, see underneath here? You can put some epoxy or hot glue. Now this guy, I have my doubts about this. Okay. Look, and see, I won't even go through this. Yeah, I'm gonna have an issue with this, but I'm gonna try nonetheless. And there's no freaking way. Alright, I have to come back. I have to shave some of that off. Alright, I finally got it on. Had to do a little bit of hacking here. I couldn't find the steel wool. But nonetheless, it's done. And see how it looks. Alright, so I got 2 sets of these anti-vibration bobbins. It only comes with the flight controller. But you can, well, at least where I buy it, I can buy it separately. And every time I make an order, I always just buy a set. Because I know I'll be using it for another build. They're just very convenient for me. I don't have to waste time trying to devise, you know, a DIY type of solution. But there's a lot of things you can do, prop adapters. And depending on the gyro, you might want more or less, or it doesn't even matter. Like this one, for example, is 32K gyro. It's not the MPU 6000, which is known to be stable and very forgiving. So that's why I'm putting two of these sets. It should be fine. got red lights there, and it looks all good. Okay, so next is the ESCs, and these are BL-Heli32. It's BL-Heli32. I guess with these new BL-Heli32, there's also, you can get telemetry. And there's one additional pad, in addition to the faster processing. These are the GS 35 amp. I wish it was 45, but it's a smaller KV motor. Yeah, this is holy smokes, it's 18 gauge. Alright, we're just going to take these off. This is the 18 gauge. So I'm just going to quickly do this signal here. Whoa. Okay. I'm just going with the flow here. No pun intended. This one I had to leave on this because it was making it come off. Okay. Signal. Do this one too. Just want to burn the freaking plastic. There we go. Should be good enough. Come on. There. There we go. One, two, and three. There you go. I'm going to stick this on to the very edge here because I want as short as possible of wire from here to there on your direct current, your DC side of the electronics, and then on your AC, right? So that's your motors from the AC. Length is not really a big issue. And then this part here, you can just cut. But you can do that at the very end. So basically, I'm going to show you now because you don't need it. Right? So you have that. You probably cut it shorter, but what I like to do is wrap this around the neutral wire, the ground. So just right up against here. We're good. Try not to press too hard. And if we're going to use zip ties, you can. I'm probably going to use some too. But just don't tie them too tight, because that's a good way to damage your ESCs. You can remove your standoffs if you want. I like to keep them there just so I know where they're going to be and I work around them. So what we're going to do now is take the block and measure that out. Where was it? Here's some wire. This is 14 gauge. So this is going to, it's a little bit too much. But you want to give some flexibility, right? So I don't mind that. So for this guy, let's just say Just going to give it a nice little clean. I already tested it with the smoke stopper and the alligator clips here. So next thing is, I guess we can solder the ESC pads real quick, just to get out of the way, and then we're going to put the motors on. But before we put the motors on, we're going to flash the flight controller, check, see if there's anything wrong with it. Nice motors. Do those first. Okay, it's a little bit at a time. Just like a spare tire there. That should be good. Alright, motors are on. I put 3 on each. I don't use the 4th one for just in case the holes don't line up perfectly for tension relief. And 3 should be good enough. Some thread locker or Loctite. Careful not to get any solder on the components. So now, it's all soldered. I'm going to take this T-cell, and that's some alligator clips with the smoke stopper. Ideally, you should be testing it after every connection, after every soldering joint, but I did not. Okay, good. It's all right. So I'm going to power my camera with this both of these 5 volt and 10 volt are clean power supplies. So this is from the power distribution board, obviously. So I'm going to be using the 5 volt and ground for this TBS Unify Pro, the 5 volt version, obviously, and the 10 volt for the Foxeer camera that I have. So let's take out the camera. The blue one is called sensor, so that's a current sensor. Voltage sensor, sorry. So that's kind of neat. I've never used Foxeer before. I've always used RunCam. whatever. This is for your OSD. Then you got your audio. So I'm not going to touch this. I think I'm going to take that out. The blue one. And then you have your video, yellow, ground black, red, VCC, and you got audio here as well. For this is the nice silicone wire. You can just use your fingers too. Right, this deserves a new cable, I think. I'll have to cut this. Oops. So, yep. This is the antenna. This is the part you don't want to damage, right here. Just in case you don't know. There's no stupid questions around here. So right now I'm just going to not give myself the benefit of the doubt and cut this very long. Alright. Now this stuff, now you can use your fingers. It's good wire. Okay? Good wire. Alright. Alright, and then lastly, the TBS. Oops. I think I'm going to put on my little grounding bracelet. I am barefooted. And this table is also grounded. So we're all good. Team black sheet. Okay, let's just put this back in here. I'm going to give you some clear heat shrink, an extra one. And some sticky stuff. Alright, VTX. 5 volt. Isn't that awesome? And this wire seems, it's not as silicone-y, but it seems very heavy duty. The only thing I don't like about this is the UHFL whatever connector. UHF? Not UHF. UFL connector. Yeah, you see, I was going to cut the wrong one. There we go. Okay. Let's keep that little tag on there just in case. See? It's a pretty good wire. Can't even cut it like that. So we have all the wires. We'll tin those wires. Want to make these a little extra long. We're going to be using the audio cable on this. I don't know. There we go. It's all tinned. So negative is the shorter side, positive is the longer side. Okay, time to put the ribbon cable on. I'll give you 2, just in case you ruin one, and even if you do ruin it, both of them, you can just use wire instead. I'll show you the diagrams and post them up. Alright, let me just put this here. So this side goes up. Unhook this. So it just pops out like that. See, I'm trying to go underneath the black lip, but I don't think you're supposed to. Because I don't see any room or like a, there we go. So it sits right on top of the black pull through pop-up connector, whatever you want to call it, I think. Let's put this in first. If you have an SD card, you might as well put that in there. And it fits right up underneath in there. So, silver facing up. Look at that. You might want to put some O-rings on that. Now we're going to try the smoke stopper on the flight controller. It's all good. Okay, everything's on, everything's self-mounted. I even put some extra, it's like triple self-mounted here. But I couldn't find any O-rings, so I used some of this styrofoam stuff. These cabinet stoppers. So I have two sets of Matek vibration dampening bobbins. And these pups right here. Which is like this type of material, foamy, spongy stuff. And finish it off with 4 nylon bolts on the top. So, cam, ETX. It's going to come off again. Let's try the ETX. Maybe we'll have some luck there. See, this one went in nice. I want to do that one over again. We're going to try one more time. But that's good enough. Where's the smart audio go? It will go... Sorry, transmit 4. Right? Doesn't matter what transmit, does it? This guy right here. Right there. This is kind of long, but it's okay, we'll just cut it. These wires are easy to get through. That's where it should be. There you go. Just going to use some servo cable. Tin these up. That's good enough. That's good enough. Actually, it went perfect. This guy, oh yeah, look at that, perfect, awesome. 5 volts, ground, which didn't go in, but still good enough, and this thing. Alright, I almost forgot this thing, my spectrum wire. And for S-Bus, it's the one on the bottom. So ground. Well, it should be good enough. I'm not going to deal with it. You got the power right here. They're in there. And now we're just going to bind it. It's never been easier. This time I'm going to actually have to leave it in place so I can bind this. Wow, that's loud. Oh, there we go. It's flashing. Look at this. Alright, so all I have to do, don't worry about this, you just fix that later. So as it's flashing, hold this down. Oops, just gonna get the throttle high warning. There we go. Got a solid green light, or orange light, and it's bound. I'm going to use some of this thicker solder. This is rosin core 6040, and so you can tell by the diameter. This is 12 gauge wire, so I use that for battery connections. I don't tend to use that with the smaller stuff because there's a lot of flux in the core and tends to make a big mess. So we'll start off with the battery connection. So this will be just how to solder XT150 connectors. So here's my DIY jig. Let's get these batteries prepped. I'm going to do this one first. So what you want to do, you have to be careful, okay? So this is for entertainment purposes only. I assume no responsibility for what you do or how you interpret this video. You're going to hold me harmless, and YouTube and Google and the whole wide world. Okay, for your own negligence and actions, I'm not responsible. So for this guy here, what you need to do is, when you remove this, you have to remove each wire carefully, and you have to do it in a way where each wire becomes isolated. Right? So I'm going to choose, for example, I would go for the black first. So never do both at the same time. You've heard that a million times, but we're going to say it again. So you just want to take one at a time, and bam, okay? And then you take this, and then you wrap it with some electrical tape, and in that way you're isolating it. I'm going a little bit overboard here, but just to be, you know, the bottom part here. So there we go. It's isolated. Now take a little bit out of here. Not too much. It's perfect. As we gotta go small. So this thing goes in first. Like that. Doesn't give me much room, does it? Now, like I said before, you can put some tape in there to hold it, or just hold it yourself. I'm going to hold the battery as a base for stability, so when I hold it or solder it in, that's what I'm going to be using. And now we're going to use this. Okay, and we're going to put it right in here. Oops, wrong way. This is bigger actually. See, different sizes. Just make sure this doesn't short anywhere, right? Just keep it. I'm going to tin this while we do that. I'm not pinching it, but I'm just putting pressure in this wire so that there's no tension here. Obviously you don't want that. And then just pulling it. Oh shoot. Oh, this is hard. Oh yeah, got it. And there, well, hot glue or epoxy. If you're, you know, really concerned about shorts or anything like that. These balance leads, guys, on all your batteries, you should put right in there some epoxy so that it holds together. Because if these come loose and touch each other, there's going to be a fire. Okay, so just like that. And just like that. Here we go. Just put this like that. Same kind of situation here. Let's clean this thing. It should be good enough. Sorry if my hand's in the way, but it's still hot as hell. Right here, and just this one was easy because there's less solder to get through. Got all the batteries done. Okay, and we're just ready for a maiden hover here. It's probably not a good idea. I don't recommend trying anything indoors, but I'm just going to do a test hover here. Did you hear that? It doesn't even sound like a quad. No, it's just my own imagination, I think. Let's give a little more. I gotta change my beeper settings. Well, at least you know when it's not armed. This is a lot of things. Really. Oh my God. Alright, that's why you should do it indoors. Thank you for watching. If you did find this video useful, please give it a like, subscribe, and also share. That would be much appreciated. Thank you very much and have a good day.